At 27 years old, I realized that the idea of being a gold digger or men and women exchanging gifts should always be based on each individual's financial ability. For example, if you earn $50,000 a month and your boyfriend earns $80,000, asking him to buy you an iPhone 14 Pro Max isn't being a gold digger. It's just giving him an opportunity to spend money on you because you could have bought the phone yourself. Asking him is simply a way to build a connection between you two because you feel you're worth it. Similarly, you could gift him something of similar value or slightly less expensive. In this situation, no one can call you materialistic because you're already capable of buying it on your own. However, if you ask your boyfriend for something that's completely out of your financial reach, then it might seem like you're trying to take advantage of him. That makes the relationship feel unequal and might give off an impression of overreaching entitlement. Simple gifts like flowers, small tokens, or even small money transfers are normal in a relationship. This isn't gold digging, it's just part of a couple's dynamic. Who uses an ATM just to withdraw coins? In a relationship, you're good to me, and I'm good to you. For instance, I buy you flowers, and you buy me a box of fruit. Both of us can afford flowers and fruit, but the act of giving is what creates emotional value. That's what brings meaning to the relationship. Now, gold digging would be demanding something far beyond your own purchasing power. When you do that, it's natural that something would need to be offered in return, like emotional value or another form of repayment. So, for women, it's important to strive for a healthy relationship without letting your desires exceed your capabilities. The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen is someone being called a gold digger over small amounts of money. How absurd. Who even needs those crumbs? When a woman has ability, charm, and money, no one dares to call her a gold digger. And if someone does, it's simply because she gave them an opportunity to spend on her. Don't be ungrateful.
If things get tough, be a little more tolerant. If you're in big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, or Shenzhen, with your well-groomed appearance, driving a car, living in an apartment, and having a respectable job and income, but when you return to your hometown, people still think you have nothing. You have money, but it doesn't help. If, with all that money, you still can't get married, no one will want you. So, if men criticize you, okay, but what's worse is when so many women online criticize you too. That's too much. In the end, you'll see yourself as empty with no value. I already consider myself an independent woman, but when I go home, my parents ask when I'll get married, and I'm not even 24 yet. You'll realize that many women, if they don't go back to their hometowns but stay in places like Shenzhen or Guangzhou, they really live well, and that's the charm of big cities. Shenzhen and Guangzhou have this power. First, no one cares where you're from or what your background is. What matters is your value in the business world. But if you return to your hometown, you'll realize that your value decreases, and society will demand much more from you. As Professor Luo Xiong said, he's super famous, right? He shares interesting legal knowledge online, and everyone finds it cool and useful. But even such an amazing person as him was criticized so much online that he ended up stepping away from social media. He got confused and, talking to his friends, asked, "What did I do wrong? Why am I being criticized?" And a friend responded, "You think people who speak ill of you are slandering you, but when they praise you, don't you think that could also be an illusion? Why do you accept praise but can't accept criticism? The truth is, it's all just a fragmented part of who you are, so why bother with it? I think this is how things work. Don't live based on what others say, don't live according to the image others have of you. The people who praise or criticize you only do so for a moment, and then they go away. They will forget you. But you'll still be bothered by it. That doesn't make sense. You should move on and forget about it. The truth is, you're not that important. No one cares that much about you. So first, don't try to please those who don't like you, because trying to please them will only make them hate you more. Also, don't submit to those who love you, because those who truly love you will love you for who you really are, not the version you pretend to be. So what you need to do is just be yourself. In the end, when you see a short video and someone criticizes you, you get sad. When someone praises you, you're happy. But over time, you'll realize that both praise and criticism are just illusions. It's not about you, it's about what you do. So keep being yourself. Who likes it, who doesn't, doesn't. Let them say whatever they want, the important thing is that you're happy.
我们生来不是给人当保姆的这句话的含金量
At 27, I realized that the narrative of women existing solely as caretakers needs to be burned to the ground. Let's be real. Are we here to cook all day, clean until we collapse, and then wake up the next day to do it all over again? Is that supposed to be the pinnacle of a woman's life? No, thank you. Here's my advice, and take it or leave it, don't stay silent. I don't care who's on the other side of the argument, your voice matters. Before you're anyone's daughter, wife, or mother, you are yourself. And if that makes someone uncomfortable, that's their problem. Recently, I've been spending more time at home for health reasons, so I've had the chance to dive into books, 80% of them on feminism. Some were refreshingly bold, others hit with piercing truths, and a few were dense enough to make me stop and rethink everything I knew. But let's clear something up right now. Am I reading these books so one day I can crush men beneath my feet? Absolutely not. I'm not here to dominate anyone, I'm here to demand equality. Society's version of equality? I've given up on that. It's a rigged game where one person can't move the needle. What I want is to equip myself, my future children, and anyone willing to listen with the knowledge that women matter. We are born with 50% of the rights. That's not a gift, it's an inheritance. We're not asking for power, we're reclaiming what's already ours. Women can be strong, unapologetic, and fierce and still thrive. And for anyone still clinging to the outdated idea that a woman's worth is tied to whether she can find a husband, grow up. That mindset is an insult to every woman who has ever dared to dream beyond a wedding ring. Our existence has meaning simply because we exist. Full stop. I challenge you, yes, you, to start having these conversations. Talk to the men in your life, your father, your boyfriend, your husband. Read something thought-provoking and toss it their way. I do it all the time with my husband. And you know what? He doesn't feel attacked or offended because he's a decent, educated human being who respects women. It's not revolutionary, it's just common sense. But let's not pretend this is the norm. The truth is, a lot of men, too many, still see women as their possessions, their personal property after marriage. And I'll tell you something harsher, this isn't just a male problem. Generations of women have internalized this nonsense, and they pass it on. Mothers telling daughters to tone it down, don't be too independent, or you'll scare men away. Scare them. Let them run. A woman's strength isn't unbecoming. It's a threat to those who benefit from keeping us small. Here's what gets me. Even now, there are women out there starving themselves, bending over backward to meet some twisted standard of beauty, thinking they're exercising freedom. Weak and fragile like some 21st century Lin Dayu. Let me tell you, weakness is not freedom. It's compliance in disguise. And why is it that when a man does housework, it's a headline-worthy achievement? Are we handing out gold medals for basic human responsibility now? Spare me. Parents, especially the older generation, are trapped in their own outdated thinking, and it's no surprise, they've been conditioned for decades. But here's the kicker, it's not just their fault. If you keep letting their mindset shape your life, you're complicit. Break the cycle. Break the chains. Stop living as if you owe anyone your subservience. Even though I work in short-form media, I'm telling you now, put the phone down sometimes. Pick up a book that will challenge your mind and tear down your limits. Reading isn't just an escape, it's a weapon. Remember this, we were born as people first. Then we became women. We are not anyone's possessions, anyone's appendages, or anyone's afterthought. We are here to be strong, to be loud, to be limitless. And if that rubs people the wrong way? Good.
Let me explain something once and for all. I'm 32 years old and no, I don't want kids. I'm not going to fall into the idea that every woman's ultimate goal in life should be to become a mother. I have my life, my goals, and my career. Why would I give all that up just because society expects me to? People think having kids is a gift, the pinnacle of life. But the truth is, raising children today is a full-time job, with sleepless nights, no rest, no space to be yourself. I simply don't have the patience for it. I like having my freedom, sleeping in if I want to, traveling, focusing on my own growth, without having to think about diapers, school, or worse, the expectations others place on me. I've seen several of my friends who, once they have kids, leave behind who they were. What was important to them? It disappears.
The mother becomes just a label, and she loses herself in this pressure to be perfect. And why should I, as a woman, be defined by that? Why does society think I'm less if I don't become a mother? I don't see why I should be. I have my own dreams, my own projects, and I want to live to accomplish them. No interruptions, no expectations of being perfect according to what society imposes. Oh, and if anyone calls me selfish for not wanting kids, fine, so be it. I'm selfish, and I'm happy the way I am. My time is mine, my choices are mine, and if that bothers anyone, it's not my problem. People are so used to dictating what women should do, they forget we have the right to decide what's best for us. I'm done adapting to the expectations of an outdated society that tries to fit everyone into the same mold. I love myself, I respect myself, and I'm enough just as I am, with or without kids.
Nowadays, many guys are looking for a partner, but no matter if they themselves are over 30, they cannot accept a woman over 30. Do you know why? The other day, I asked a guy about this. Let's see what he said. This guy is 32 years old. I asked him, why can't you accept a woman over 30? He told me he had 3 reasons, especially the last one, which he couldn't accept. The first reason is that he thinks older women are very greedy. They want everything, but they never look at their own conditions. Their demands are always higher. They need a man who has a house, a car, a stable job. That's the minimum. Plus, the man has to be tall, handsome, and still provide emotional value. And on top of that, she expects his family to have a pension and a good financial situation. Do you think a man will accept that? Even if he does, why would he choose a 35-year-old woman when he could go for a 25-year-old? The second reason is that they often have a very strong ego. If their friends marry rich men, they need to find someone richer. Sometimes they know they're getting older and want to lower their demands, but they're too afraid to do so. Why? They're afraid of what others will think, afraid of being mocked, of being called too picky, and now settling for something less. But honestly, what's wrong with that? What matters is if you're happy, not what others think. The third reason is that their demands for specific characteristics are very high. They won't accept even the slightest flaw. If a man doesn't meet all the criteria, they won't even want to meet him. For example, they require the man to be 1.75 meters tall. If the guy is 1.74 meters, they won't even meet him. He himself went through this situation. What do you think? Is this guy being reasonable? The other day, I saw several videos of girls still in their 20s, making videos saying they don't want kids and don't care about marriage. But I bet that, later on, they will regret it. The reason is that, when they hit 30, men start looking for younger women. It's a reality that many of these women don't understand now, but they will realize it over time. When a man reaches a certain age and starts looking for a partner, he will prioritize youth. And this isn't something personal, it's a matter of instinct and genetics. They want someone who still has time to build a future together. Someone who has a long road ahead, and unfortunately, this is a very relevant factor for many men. So, those girls who think they have time to choose or reject the right men may end up missing out.
If you usually watch the videos until the end and pay attention to all the testimonials, you must have noticed a similarity in the stories, especially when we talk about topics like the so-called leftover women, gold diggers, or even those videos where I discussed women regretting not getting married or having children when they were younger. Honestly, sometimes I feel like those last ones resemble a sort of Chinese government propaganda encouraging women to have children. But the video I'm showing today takes a completely opposite approach. On the platforms where I found it, it had significantly more views and comments from young women agreeing with everything compared to the videos featuring women who woke up and regretted their choices. Those videos generally have much less engagement. Reflecting on this, I realized it's somewhat natural, at least in my social circle, where I have friends in older age groups. It's a curious phenomenon. Almost everyone who decides not to have children ends up regretting it in the end. I have a relative who never wanted kids since the day he got married. By the time he reached his 40s, I was still in college. One day, he called me and said he felt like life no longer made sense. I can't recall exactly how I responded, But it made me think, if someone decides to go their entire life without having children, how do they cope with the rest of it? In reality, most people after their 30s have already lived the experiences they wanted to live and achieve what they could achieve. What hasn't been experienced or accomplished likely never will be. And as time goes on, daily life becomes more repetitive and dull. There's a saying that sums it up well. Some people die at 30, but aren't buried until they're 80. And how do most people deal with this? By having children? Take my relative, for example. He ended up adopting a child because he couldn't have biological children. After that, his life became busy and lively again, and he regained his smile. When we finish our studies, enter the workforce, and stabilize our lives, much of life's main mission is complete. From there, many people choose to marry and have children, embracing a new purpose. Having children creates countless side missions, like caring for them, feeding them, changing diapers, taking them out, and working to support the family that keep parents busy and provide a renewed sense of meaning. We often see scenes of exhausted parents after a day of work, but when they return home and see their children's innocent smiles, it all feels worth it. Children give parents a new purpose, even helping to ease feelings of existential emptiness. On the other hand, there are those who choose not to have children or even get married. After completing life's main milestones, these individuals are left with the task of sustaining themselves. In youth, it's easy to enjoy this freedom, doing whatever they want without responsibilities, traveling spontaneously, or quitting a job on a whim. But believing this freedom will last forever is risky. Over time, interests change. You stop enjoying things you once loved. The body starts showing signs of wear, and activities that were once thrilling lose their appeal. You ditch bad habits to focus on health, adopt a more structured routine, and life becomes monotonous. At some point, between 40 and 50, a deep sense of emptiness can take over. You start asking yourself, what's the meaning of life? Some regret their choices and try to find new purposes, while others realize it's too late to take on new missions. And some don't believe having children is the best way to solve this existential dilemma. Personally, I haven't been consumed by this emptiness, but it does creep up occasionally, like a cold wave washing over my feet. That's why I decided to find a way to protect myself. Since I don't believe in traditional solutions, I'm looking for alternatives. I think if someone chooses not to marry or have children, it's crucial to create a purpose, a life mission, something that brings meaning to what they do. It can be as simple as what you find significant. My mission is an example of this. It's a challenging project that demands my effort for the rest of my life, but it's valuable and meaningful. Solitude and the lifestyle of those who live alone shouldn't be overlooked, and that's what I aim to explore and share. For those who choose not to marry or have children, I suggest finding your purpose as soon as possible. This can prevent the trap of believing you can play through life forever. After all, finding a purpose is what gives meaning to everything we do. Now I'd love to hear your perspective on this topic. Leave your comments below. I'll read them all. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.